Hope all is well. Today we are going to talk about the end game of US Iran war as well as what lesson can this war teach us uh, in our daily life personally as well as professionally. What can we really do different to learn from this war in benefit in our business, and what are the things to do and what are things not to do, because sometimes that is more important to learn from any big endeavor. So this is really a big endeavor for all, American citizens in particular, and every world citizen, every human being in general. Why? Because this war is going to impact every single human being, whether that is a US citizen or living anywhere in a small village in Kenya or Iran or anywhere else, because we are very intertwined today, and truly we live in global village. A lot of my professional friends ask me, well, since you've been talking about this, what is your view and how do you see this? And a lot of our local friends, they don't really have a complete appreciation of different nations and world history or different cultures. And honestly, I would say that most of our media before the social media has been very, very, narrow minded and maybe biased. We have been getting very filtered and biased news from very few media outlets. Now, if we don't want to believe it, that's fine. But really, that is the true belief if you really keep your ears and eyes open. And especially today, when we have this social media and we see all the outlets and we see all what's going on in the world, we can see it better. News has been fed to us in one particular fashion to help certain lobbies. And those lobbies spend literally billions of dollars on this whole news media outlets, and they were mostly predominantly owned by certain group. But now, and that is the same group who was also, by and large, I'm sorry to say, controlling our decision makers, our Congress and Senate, and even the White House. And we didn't realize it. We are a very proud nation, but in that proudness, we didn't really see what's going on behind the scene. But now, when we are looking at the true picture with the social media, I hope we can wake up and understand the reality. And I think we are waking up. And, you know, being ignorant is really your biggest weakness. It's not really a bliss, in my humble opinion. Ignorance is a very big failure. And if you are ignorant and you can call yourself the best and you don't really know the reality, then yeah, you could be best for a short period of time, but it will be very short lived because your ears and eyes are not on looking at all the things which are, you know, hurting you inside the core and really destroying your economy and hence your nation and your morality as well. Why did I say that? Because if you fed if you are fed with certain type of vision and certain type of information, then you naturally make those decisions and thinking that you are doing the right thing and you're on the right path, but unfortunately you might not really know the whole picture. Honestly, this reminds me of a movie, I think it was about Jim Carrey, Truman Show. And that Truman Show, really, how Jim Carrey was put in a spot where his entire life was recorded, and all he believed or was led to believe is living. This is the whole world. He cannot go beyond this ocean. In the reality, it was just a screen. So, I mean, if you haven't watched that movie, that was a very, very interesting movie. You should watch that. So, we really have been playing in the Truman Show, and now all of a sudden, this whole screen is broken and we can see through that the world is much, much bigger than we are led to believe. So after all this preamble, I would, come to the main question: what lessons can we learn from US Iran war, and what are the things not to do, and how do I really see next step of this war. And one of my dear friend asked me that question, and I promised him that I'll discuss that in my Sunday session. So this is our usual live podcast where I discuss various issues and how that can help and hurt our business, our life, if we don't really pay attention. So if you participate in this discussion, we appreciate it. We can learn from you. We can learn from each other. But if you don't, I encourage you to ponder, even on your own. So a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who is also actually older than me, very professional, very educated, very successful, he was asking me, "Hey, Rich, what do you think that is Iran is going to bow down to all the shock and awe?" Excuse me. And he said, "What kind of people Iranians are, and what do you think? Because you have traveled a lot." He was asking me, and what do you think? Do you think they're gonna bow down and they're gonna really take the deal? And and honestly, I told him in a simple answer that Iranians, if you look at the Iran's history, Iranians have few very unique differentiators and natural protection which nobody else has. You know what those are? Number one, Iranians have really not never been defeated. They have never been ruled. You can check the history. Even if there was a short period of time and that was really passed through and there was a deal made, there was never really a foreign power that actually ruled Iran in the history of Iran. Number one. And that really create a culture and a thought process. Number two, Iranians today are, excuse me, predominantly Shia Muslim who actually follow more closely the martyr of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Who was Imam Hussein? He was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he was brutally murdered, brutally martyred in the Battle of Karbala, uh, and he was called upon by uh, people of Kufa. I mean, basically, it was Iran, Iraq was together at that time, and he was, called upon there to, replace or have dialogue with Yazid, who was the son of Amir Muawiyah, was son of Abu Sufyan, and this is really the Umayyad Caliphate. So Amir Muawiyah was the first caliph who actually appointed his own son, and he really created this new controversy in Islam where you could appoint your heir, your son, to as a caliphate. That is not allowed. There was no example in Islam. And matter of fact, Islam came to abolish that whole kingdomship. It was very, at that time's best democracy. So, and secondly, Yazid was really was an oppressor. He was not following the right path, and he was oppressing people. And that's what Imam Hussein salam stood against him. And believe it or not, Imam Hussein made a claim that either you will let me have a dialogue with him, excuse me, or you will uh, have to really kill me because I am not going to bow down to Yazid. So Imam Hussein salam, traveled with his whole family. There were 72 or so people, including children and women. So he didn't come to have a fight or war. He came to have a dialogue with Yazid, a civil dialogue, because who comes with the family to have a war, especially with the infants? So he came to have a dialogue and he came to settle there and have a dialogue. But unfortunately, Yazid did not want to have a dialogue because he was a liar, he was oppressor, he was afraid of him. So he basically, sent his force to stop him before he comes to his headquarters or so far. And he basically was stopped and he was denied water He was, put in a very wrong spot, very tough spot. But he basically was told that either he has to do bay'ah, means accepting Yazid as Khalifa, as king, president, whatever you want to call it, or face the consequences. So he was actually killed with his family in that battlefield, so to speak, where some women were spared, a lot of male children and youth, and Imam Hussein Islam himself was martyred. So Shia Iran really follow Imam Hussein. They say either we will die or we will stand for the truth. We will not bow down to any oppressor. So that's another dynamics you need to understand, because they consider that as the biggest um, biggest, I will say, success, or their ultimate goal of life, that they can stand with Imam Hussein. They follow the footsteps of Imam Hussein, and they will not bow down to any oppressor. Number two. Number three, war games and geography of Iran. Iran has the deepest mountain in the world, and hence they have their tunneling system. Iran is known for war tactics, trenches, and tunnels. If you don't know the history of Iran, then please go look. These were the people who taught the different nations how to have and how to develop new war tactics, and how do you really prepare yourself for the war. I'm not going to go deep in that because this session will be very long if I do that. Matter of fact, I'll just give you one quick example. Then one of Iranian named Suleiman Farsi left Iran, went to see Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in his days, because he learned that it's the new prophet coming, the last prophet coming, and he will be the pious, and he would basically be, and he learned that all from Christian and Jews scholars, and he became fond of him, and he said, look, I gotta go there, and I gotta see this man who's going to change the whole world forever. And at that time, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was new in Medina. So he went to Medina, he camped outside of Medina, he was watching Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he realized that this is the prophet, and he then became his follower, his companion, and then he was the one who actually taught that new Muslim nation how to fight against the oppressor. When the whole Makkans and Arabs came to fight out, Muslims and the entire Medina, it's called the Battle of Trench, Ghazwa Ahzab. The Battle of Trench, or the Battle of Confederation Army. The whole Confederation, the entire Arab came together to fight against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his few followers, and they thought they'll abolish them. And they couldn't abolish them because of that war tactic and that steadfastness. Two things. Number one, they dug a trench, and that was the first time in the history of Arabs that these guys, went outside from Medina, dug a trench from one mountain to another mountain, so the enemy could not enter into the city, and then they will go deep into the ditch if they try to, pass it. And that was with the strategy of Salman Farsi, who was the Iranian. I'm talking 14, 1500 years ago. So, what do you think then they are doing now? Iranians are very tenacious, and they would rather die than bow down to an oppressor. So, for them, this war is a life death situation. They are not, because they know if they give up, then they will be absolutely, finished from the history, and they don't have lots of allies in the world. So where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go? So how can they give up their biggest asset? Well, they said, look, we would rather fight in our own territory than we live like slaves in the whole world. So this is their life and death matter. Now look at the other stakeholder, Israel. Israel, and now again, I'm not talking about the whole Jews nation. I'm talking about the Israel and Israeli lobby and mostly Zionist and Netanyahu. These guys are also not welcome anywhere in the world now. Things have changed because of social media. They also have to fight this out. And it is in their best interest to fight. I can understand because of their stand on killing innocent people. Had they not killed innocent people, had they lived peacefully, they were welcomed everywhere in the world. But now, many places in the world have warrant of arrest against Netanyahu. And I'm telling you, if Netanyahu's plane, somebody was saying yesterday, if his plane has a problem anywhere flying and they have to really go an emergency landing, Netanyahu is facing major threat that he may be arrested in that country because there's so many countries have his arrest warrants. So when you are an oppressor and you know and you're basically killing innocent people, especially women and children, hospitals and education centers, and unbelievable. Then what's going to happen? So now this is really the situation, and that for America, unfortunately, this is not American war. This is not an American war. We didn't have any problem. We don't really have problem with Iran. Iran is not a threat to us. How could it be a threat to us? Okay, somebody can say, "Oh, we have a strategic interest in Middle East, so they are a threat to." No, they don't. No, we don't, because even if Iran get his way, how can they control the whole Middle East? You will have then Pakistan on your side, Saudi on your side, all the other countries on your side. Do you guys know that Iran's geography, one side is Pakistan, which is a very big country. The other side is Afghanistan, another very big geographic country, very small population, but very, very big, geographical country. Then you have China and Russia on the other side. But and then again the Middle Eastern states, which are all under the control of sort of United States. So we have zero threat. Matter of fact, we could have build a very good economy and boost of economy of all these countries if we would have not sided with with Zionist lobby. Zionist lobby really have us really a big impediment on our on US economy. And honestly, if US economy is going to go down, Zionist lobby will be, in the long run, be responsible for that. And whether we believe it or not, whether we close our eyes or open our eyes, we are declining very fast. This war has increased the decline of United States economy. We already had a challenge and a challenger in terms of China, but now we accelerated our failure, unfortunately. And we're not realizing it. And it's going fast. Sooner we realize that, sooner we can end this war and put end to this naiveness, because this naiveness is not only costing billions and billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe close to over $1 trillion. It's not just that. It's not money only. It is really the moral standing of United States. Because understand, morality build economy. Economies never build it. Economies never really build morality. So if our moral value in the world is gone, then our economic value will be under a huge threat, and definitely eventually we will lose. Look at what happened to other nations. Look where Britain was. Great Britain lost their morality. Look what happened. Germany, same thing. You take any, Japan, same thing. When you are an oppressor, so okay, somebody can make an argument that there are war economies, and in a war, Second World War, American economy really got boosted, and same thing will happen again. I'm sorry, that was when we were at the rise and we were the only rising power. And we were also not actually the oppressor. We're only being the truce maker. But when you are an oppressor, look what happened in Vietnam. Look what happened in Iraq. Look what happened in Afghanistan. And look, anywhere we have gone in recent history as an oppressor, it has absolutely not helped our economy, our morality, and our rule of law. It has not helped. And in this case, you are up against the strongest enemy among all that. Vietnamese, you think that was bad? You have no idea how tenacious Iran is and Iranians are. War and tenacity and not taking no for an answer is in there. Have you ever negotiated with Iranian guys? Have you? Do you know how difficult it is to negotiate with an Iranian? Iranians are very proud people and somewhat stubborn too. And they are not the type of people who you can just, who you can threat and convince. Now, this is the same thing happens in our businesses. We need to really see that when we are working with the stakeholders, we really need to carefully analyze our stakeholders and their interest and interdependence. We must be able to understand our stakeholders' interdependence and interest satisfaction or mutual interest satisfaction. Just like we're looking at the interest satisfaction of Israel, Iran, America, China, Russia, Pakistan, all the other countries, you can take every single country and look at their interest. Or sometimes even not the countries, but personalities. Trump has his own vested interest, and he look at his interest far, far ahead of United States interest. He's happy that the market goes up and down because he and his friends make money with up and down. Even Pakistani journal is happy because it really boosts their leadership. It doesn't matter what's going on in their economy. The economy is going down the drain. They don't care because it's all about them. It's not about the country. Whereas I believe in China, it's about the country. And in Iran, it is about their everything. It's about their country, their own well being, everything. So, that being said, Trump, unfortunately, with his alliance with Netanyahu, all you're going to see, unfortunately, is this. You're going to keep saying, oh, we're going to have truce. Oh, we're going to have war. Oh, we're going to. Why? Because it's all tactical. There is no strategy. I told you before, I, humbly submitted three dimensions: strategic, technical, and tactical. If you have a strategic thinking and technical analysis of your abilities and your enemy's abilities and your stakeholder analysis, then you can use proper tactics. But if you are using tactics without any proper uh, strategy or deep technical analysis, then you will be, throwing your hand into the dark and trying to get what you can, and then use, push and pull strategy, which I have explained before. So to sum up, to my, friends who are asking this question, what is going to happen? Unfortunately, there is no strategy here. There is no deep technical analysis here. If there would have been, then we would have understood that how um, constrained we are on our, on our stockpile, and how long does it take to build one, what stockpile we will have left over to fight the whole world. God forbid something happen in China and Russia and other places. And what are we doing protecting, how much we are putting ourself on risk to protect Israel, and then how much alienation we're creating in the whole world for this unjust war and unjust and naive alliance with Netanyahu. So in businesses, these things are these things need to be looked upon. How could you survive in any business if you just support one of your ally, even if that ally is your brother or your sister or your, and you don't do it based on technical analysis or professional review. You just do it because you like somebody, or you are threatened by somebody, or you are blinded by somebody. If that's the case, then unfortunately you wouldn't even know what's going on. But if really you look neutrally and openly, and you make decision based on technical analysis and strategic direction, then your tactics would work. Otherwise, your tactics will not work, and that will actually destroy your economy and your morality. So, that being said, unfortunately, I don't see any end game here is going to be for at least until you have the election. It's going to go up, down, because this is helping Trump's, you know, whole philosophy of gaining momentum into the stock market. When the oil prices go above 100, try to come back, and then of course the oil prices come down, the prices goes up again with the threats, and that this is keep happening. And some people believe in Trump's regime that that's the right approach. That is a very, very off the cuff, tactical approach. And unfortunately, that approach is in the long term destroying our economy, really putting a big burden of interest rate into people. And look at what's going on with the prices of all type of grocery prices, gas prices, and look at the housing market. You can't really find proper buyers, even though the housing prices markets is down, but the material and labor prices are up. So that's the clear definition uh, of economic destruction. So, if we want to really see the light at the end of the tunnel, then we gotta really step back, and we gotta find a solution. This solution, unfortunately, is not going to be the absolute best tactical solution at this point, but if we are wise and we actually set up some sort of a memorandum of understanding, even though that may not be the best MOU, but it will be far better than this particular situation, because then we have a time to set our strategic direction and unalign and unentangle yourself from Israel, and give the whole world a message that we are working on a just cause, and we want to deal everybody fairly, and we do not want to be immoral in the whole world. We want to have morality as a end goal, and that can happen in our daily life as well as in our businesses, because all these things have a natural flow, and that natural flow goes with strategic thinking and deep technical analysis, and with fairness and truthfulness. And so hopefully you got my view that how we need to understand the Iranians way of life, and we need to respect that, and we need to really move on and have a decent memorandum of understanding, where it's not about winning or losing, but it's basically moving on with giving respect to each other, and focusing on economy and developing economic structure, and not worrying about who won or lost the war. I hope we got some message out of it. Until next time, God bless you all. Thank you.